So the idea doesn't sound so crazy to me. You want a big bomb, you make a bomber, you put a massive bomb in it, you put a fighter on top to steer it and aim it at the enemy, let it go, fighter goes home for tea and medals. Sounds perfectly sensible. Sounded sensible to the Germans as well. They called it Mistel. I've got one to build. Let's have a look at what you get inside the box for your money, right here on Gary's Stuff. Hello there, I'm Gary. Welcome to my channel and welcome back if you've been here before. So today is box opening day on the kit of the week. That kit being the Mistel 1 in 1/48th scale from ICM. So today we'll have a look at what you get inside the box for your money, what the plastics are like, what the decals are like, the instructions and so on. I'll also later be doing a couple of build videos, one for the BF109 that sits on top, one for the Junkers 88 that sits underneath. When will you know those videos are released? Best thing to do is to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell if you haven't done so already, because that way you'll get a notification to tell you when I've published new videos. And of course, anything you like on my channel, please give it the imperial thumbs up on the like button below, because every like counts. And if you'd like to support the channel in a bit more concrete fashion, you can do that through super thanks by becoming a channel member or by using any of my online partner programs. For the sake of full disclosure, I must tell you that ICM very kindly sent me this kit as a free review sample. However, they've not asked me to say anything particular, not sent me a script. They, like you, want an honest review of the kit, and that's what they, like you, are going to get. So let's make a start and have a look what you get inside the box for your money of the ICM Mistel 1 in 1/48th scale. So here is the Mistel 1 box. It's huge. I have to say, it's pretty big. Lovely artwork on the front, as usual. Very nice. On the side here, we have the bit of information about the Mistel aircraft. It's for collectors, adult collectors and model makers, presumably age 14 and over. I presume it's because of the size of the parts that they do that. So there's instruction sheet with drawings and decal sheet as well. It makes a kit 342 millimeters long, 421 millimeters wide, so that's about what, 15 inches wide, and 147 high, which is quite tall, half a foot tall. Includes 251 parts in total. On the long edge are three scheme options here. Not quite sure which one. I'll probably do this one. Oh, maybe that one's got more stuff on the bottom, but then this is a bit more boring. I'm not sure. Yeah. Maybe I'll do this one. Yeah, I'll do this one probably. Anyway, let's see what's inside this quite enormous bomb of a box. As usual, the top comes off and then the lid opens to reveal the inner workings. There's an instruction sheet, a huge decal sheet as well. I'll have a look at those in a minute. There's the conversion parts to convert the Ju-88 into a Mistel bomb. The whole of the nose and the central part of the fuselage, it gets replaced because there's no crew, obviously, and there are some frame part supports and things like that. Closed doors for the ME109 or BF109, I should say. BF109 itself is here. Looks very much like the usual pieces. We'll have a look at that in a bit. Then there is the Junkers 88, which is a beast. As we said, it is quite big. And there's lots of stuff in there, including a whole frame of transparencies, the majority of which we're not going to be using. According to the frame map, this is frame A. These obviously is the fuselage halves, engine, propeller options. It will be using this one at the top here. More bits of engine bay cover, rudder, air intakes, and a couple of these are the guns that go on the top of the engine. This is frame 2, so essentially just, yeah, you can see the wings and the wheels. And this is frame C. It's marked as frame C, which is nice. Interiors, the engine itself, because this comes, you build the engine on this. Actually, I think you have to. I'm not sure if you want. I think you have to build the engine. I think these may be flaps. Leading edge slats, wingtips. Yeah, the whole engine assembly, bits and pieces to the interior as well. Then there's the transparent frame, which is listed as frame E. So you have windshield, the canopy, rear cover, gun mounting and gun mount sight rather, the extra piece of armoured glass at the front, and I guess a landing light cover here. Looking a bit more closely at the mouldings, first thing is this is very much ICM as it used to be, in that these frames are really, really thin and feel very fragile, but the parts feel grand. There's some flash here and there on bits and pieces, but nothing too major. I mean, nothing we can't deal with. Moulding itself looks very nice, looks quite sharp and clean. Shouldn't be any real hassles here. The rudder looks, again, there's a bit of flash around the bottom of the rudder here. On the propeller looks okay, just a tiny bit of overflow on the propeller. Nothing major of any of these. This will need some cleaning up as well. But it's all the stuff you can do. It's not anything that's terribly wrong by the looks of things. And to be perfectly honest, I'd rather have a bit of flash than undershots. Likewise, plenty of detail on the engine sides here. If you're going to have them open, then grand. The impeller there looks very smart. The cockpit itself is okay. I like that the instruments aren't too grossly over. There's not too much sort of relief on these, because otherwise the decal would be hell. I might have to cut some of them off, but not many, to make the decal sit nicely. Engine mountings all look okay. Yeah, everything looks fine so far. This is an interesting issue where the pito's moulded into this end. That's going to be, I have to be really careful taking off. I have to remember that that's there before I take it off, of course. And then the wings again, nicely enough moulded on the top surface here. What I do like, and what they've been able to take advantage of here, is that all of the injection feeds for both, there's only two, they're in bits that are not going to be all that visible. This bit's going to be covered by the slat, or almost covered by the slat. This bit is part of the fuselage drawing. Likewise on the lower wing, again, injection points just sort of outboard of the beginning of the slat. This is about, which means that there's going to be no problems when we take the piece off with these leading edges. There's no injection points into the leading edges, so that's going to, so any mistakes we make there are entirely our own, of course. I do like the look of these ailerons, and that sort of ribbed look that they have. It's very good. The wheels are nice quality look to them as well. Again, a little bit of flash on the edges, but the mouldings are very smart, very clean. Suspiciously, not sure Oh, okay, they go in the back. That's right. I was going to say, not sure about where the axles are going to go. They go in the back like that. So that's cool. Yeah, they look very nice. The transparent parts look very clean, very smart, very nicely molded. I don't think there's any problems at all here. There's a tiniest little bits of cutout flash there on the edges. Nothing that's going to be a problem at all. Should be easy to put these on. Frame H, these are all the structural supports, the struts for holding the 109 in place, and these are the closed doors. You can see the wheels are only halves, so it's the closed door option there. And this is frame K. These is the replacement nose and the replacement section underneath the aircraft. So there's no bay here for the crew. Obviously, there's no pilot, co-pilot, bomb aimer, navigator, any of that nonsense. That is all taken up by high explosive and these bits of fins that just sort of go around the weapon itself and the fuse up at the front there. So this is frame A. These are the two fuselage sides. The middle section, which gets replaced obviously because there's no crew on this, there's no crew gondola here. Radio sets and so on and so forth, yeah, they're not used. Tailplane and elevators, and these are parts of the undercarriage assembly. Frame B here, as you can see, are the wings, upper and lower surfaces of the wings. Frame C has the engine nacelles, the interiors, the undercarriage doors, main wheels, bits and pieces, the rudder, fin, and the propellers. Now, a lot of this stuff isn't used on the Mistel. There's different propellers and engine nacelles and so on and so forth, as we'll see. Frame C1 has the engine nacelles, the fin, propellers, and presume the rudder. Frame D is mainly the flaps, ailerons, and the undercarriage assemblies. There's a couple of guns on there which aren't going to be used, but the main undercarriage assemblies and all the sort of actuator systems and so on and so forth. Frame E, and we have the engines, engine parts, engine assemblies, exhausts, mountings, all the various pipework bits and pieces, and some bombs as well, if we were going to put those on, which of course we're not. Defensive ammunition with magazines for rounds, of course that's not going to go on either, because the aircraft was unmanned. The quite chunky instruction leaflet here starts with a reprise of the box art here, reprise of the information on the side probably as well, some basic information, stats around here. All the colour callouts, they give them as their own numbers now. Well, those are probably the colours we'll be using, but we'll find we might use some other ones instead. And there's here's some translation of what all the icons mean inside. You'll notice there are huge swathes of this kit that are not going to be used. Replacing, as I've mentioned before, the center section underside. A lot of this is like bomb aiming and crew stuff. You don't need any of that. Different propellers, different engine nacelles, and so on and so forth. All of that's replaced. Lots of not carrying bombs, not carrying any of this. In fact, these parts here, they're a bit behind the times because you don't use the canopy either. The canopy pieces are not, almost none of that gets used. Very, very little of it gets used. And yeah, on the BF 109 as well, it's the same thing as bits that don't get used on this because it's a Mistel. So we start off building the Junkers 88, and we'll. Yes, it's the nicer, more modern version of the proper step-by-step instructions rather than the old days. Just exploded diagrams. There's quite a lot to do, even though it's relatively undetailed kit in that there's no nose. But of course, the engine, you've got both engines you can expose, for being serviced or whatever. So that's called the 109 as well. All the instructions for building that. Again, you can build the engine. You put the wheels in the up position, of course, on here because you don't have the wheels down until you land, hopefully on your own. One slightly annoying thing, I say it is really a very slight annoyance, is you have to drill your own holes for all of the mountings. They're not even partially imprinted on the other side, so you've got to do it all yourself. And there's very detailed, 0.7 of a millimeter in it. I'm not going to be worried too much about things like that. Masks, I have got masks for this. I don't use this system. It just really doesn't suit me at all. And then the marking schemes that are available. There are 4, I think. 5. No, 4 or 3. Count them, Gary. There are 3 options. These are the Junkers 88s. And then, of course, you have the relevant marking options on the back here. I'm so really tempted by this BF 109, which will mean we have a really boring Mistel because there's not very much information on the plane itself. But then, you know what? The plane is just basically a bomb, isn't it? So I'm not too worried about that. Let's go for option 3 then. We'll do that because I like the red wingtip. I love red wingtips. Don't know why. Always do. Onto the decals. Plenty of them because there are various options. And you are looking at 2 aircraft, of course. That is to be remembered. Various sort of lines, probably like don't walk lines, basically, or something like that. Yeah. Nur hier betreten, only walk here. Nicht betreten, don't step here. Achtung, warning. Nice looking instrument dial for the 109. All of these stencils are here. They all look very sharp. The colours look nice. That yellow is quite a nice colour, although yellow I tend to do myself. Don't tend to paint myself. I've yet to find out why these are all in strips. I will find out, no doubt, when I build the aircraft and go to paint it, why these strips are all there. There's a little chunk taken out of this white decal as well, which is a bit of a problem. Currently, stuff takes about 2 weeks to get, or 10 days to 2 weeks to get from Ukraine. So I'm sure if you got in touch with ICM, they would replace them. Of course, you can just replace them yourself with something else. But also, because of this business here, whatever that is, I suspect it replaces part of the decal. So we'll have a look and see if we can figure that one out later. I'm not worried about it. I can always paint it in anyway. It's not a major issue. So yeah, all look very nice. Let's have a closer look to just double check the sharpness. Using our standard 0.5 mm pencil lead, you can see these are way under 0.5 mm tall. I mean, those are about 0.2 mm tall, and you can read them. Really nice. This is a bit of a step up from previous ICM decals. I think they're gradually getting better and better and better. The printing's sharper and sharper. I mean, some of it, I presume it's 87 octane fuel. Some of it is still struggling to read slightly, but you know what? It's that small and it's on a shelf. You can't read it anyway. So, colours are nice. Registration's very close. That looks very slightly off, that registration there. This does look thicker than this, but again, that's like 0.1 of a millimeter out, maybe. Yeah, I can live with that. And the decals for the 109 instrument panel look very nice indeed. So there we have it. There's quite a lot to build, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's why I've set aside 2 weeks for it, because there is a lot. Undecided yet how much of the engine. I probably won't do the engine open on the 109. I probably will on the Junkers 88s, just because they're there. But I'll double check on that later on. I haven't decided what scheme really yet. I don't know. That's still a work in progress. Anyway, you'll know, of course, what schemes are when you come back and check out the build videos. When they're available. Well, the thing to do is to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell if you haven't done so yet, and you will receive a notification when all my content is published. And of course, anything you like on my channel, please do give it an imperial thumbs up on the like button below, because every like counts. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope to see you again very soon. Take good care and goodbye.